I want to tell you something that took me years to understand. Something uncomfortable, something that the sales industry will never teach you. Because it just contradicts with everything they say. And here it is. The more you're trying to be liked on a sales call, the less you close. I know it sounds counterintuitive because we've all been told that people buy from people they like, and because of the likability principle. And there's truth in that, yeah? But there's also truth underneath, deeper truth underneath. Because we've been told that, okay, smile all the time, laugh, be likable, agree. But the truth, the deeper truth underneath of our human nature is actually people don't buy from people, don't buy from salespeople they like. They buy from people they respect. And it was discovered, in 16th century in Florence, Italy. Yeah. By the man with the name Machiavelli, Niccolo Machiavelli. Yeah. And I know, Machiavelli is always the term, or the word Machiavellian was shaped as something evil, yeah. But let me show you that actually Machiavelli wasn't evil. He was honest. He was honest about our human nature. Yeah. When everyone was sugarcoating everything, he just literally, shared with the world the way humans operate in real life, not in this Disney, movies or social norms, yeah, but actually what people think and how they behave and how they make decisions, because that's why we're here, to understand how people make decisions. Yeah, if we're trying to sell something, why? Probably, maybe you have already tried, you've been very, and it's not about being manipulative or being deceptive. It's not about that. It's about actually being honest. Yeah. And in today's video, we're gonna go over 6 principles from Machiavelli that you can apply now in your sales calls, and that will change your sales game completely. And you won't need any sales scripts, nothing. Yeah, you can burn your sales scripts just by understanding the first principles. Yeah, the ancient sales system that's been there for decades, for centuries. Yeah, and people still, and like the online space, still trying to find new ways, new tactics of selling. No, it's just all about human nature, about psychology, how the human brain actually makes a decision. And before we dive into that, let me introduce myself. My name is Arslan, and I'm the founder of Socratic Sales. In the last few years, I've closed multi 4 and 5 figure deals internationally without any sales script, and helped hundreds of business owners who sell high ticket offers to do the same with the Socratic sales system. Just by understanding how humans work, how they make decisions, how they think, and how their brain says yes. And Machiavelli actually, he discovered that without any neuroscience, any MRI scans of the brain, he just discovered that by observing. And by the way, quick story about Machiavelli. He's like former politician, yeah, and he's been basically observing the whole situation. And then after some years, he basically wrote the book that's called Prince, yeah, and he has also other works, but the most popular is The Prince. And now, Why is it so important? Let's talk first about, let's talk about the dark, what dark actually means, in this case. Because yes, whenever you ask someone about Machiavelli, they say, oh, something dark, something evil, something deceptive. But they don't really see the clear picture, the real picture of that, what he was trying to tell people, or what he was trying to share with the world. Yeah, because if someone thinks that a human being is so nice or so right or so agreeable because he's just agreeable person, yes, there are people that are agreeable, but without any darkness inside of the human being, it's pretty delusional to think that the human being is perfect. Yeah. And even Carl Jung, the Swiss psychologist, like you can say the second father of modern psychology, he discovered the shadow. And every single person has the shadow. And actually, those who hide the shadow are more dangerous than those who are just being honest. Yeah. So, what dark actually means in this case, yeah? So, where's my pen? Literally, dark is being honest, ruthlessly honest. Yeah? That's what people think. That they think that being honest or ruthlessly honest is dark. But if you think about it, it's just that basically how the world works. Yeah. People don't want the truth. They don't want the truth. If you tell them the truth, they start being defensive. So that's why they say dark is equal, basically evil, dark is equal deceptive, dark is equal manipulative. But is it actually? Or it's just the person is being honest. He's just trying to protect you from people who are trying to manipulate you. Yeah? Because many people think that Robert Greene is evil because of his book. Yeah? Because he studied Machiavelli. But is he actually evil, or he's just trying to share the real human behavior, the real human, the shadow of the human being that everyone is trying to hide or suppress. Yeah. But in order to actually just this is not related to sales, but if you want to improve yourself, to learn about yourself, obviously you have to understand yourself, because it's just literally an iceberg that you are you're rediscovering every time. And if you want to improve yourself, you have to integrate this shadow, not avoiding that or not trying to hide it somewhere, because it will come back and you won't be able to control it. That's why when we're emotional, we do stupid things. Yeah, and there's neuroscience behind that. We'll go over that. Yeah. So just to clear that, yeah, dark is just being honest, ruthlessly honest. Yeah. So now Machiavelli said that, like, let's first think about a simple example. Yeah. We have a doctor. Yeah. And someone has a disease, yeah, and the doctor is trying to sugarcoat, everything is fine, You don't need to worry about that. Or you have pain somewhere. Yeah? Just you have pain somewhere and they're saying, "Oh, this is just stress. Just everything is fine. Just do some sports, eat well, sleep well, that's it." Yeah, and here are your painkillers. Now, maybe she knows that there could be some potential danger, but she's just not saying that. She's not sharing anything. Yeah, she's just trying to be nice. Another doctor doesn't really care about being nice. He's just trying to tell them the truth. Okay, you have this disease, yeah? And you have to do this and this and this. You have to avoid this food. You have to avoid this. Is it comfortable? Is it something that you would like to hear? Probably not. But is it something that you must hear? Yes, probably yes. Yeah? And is it something that you must hear in order to, in order to improve or in order to change your life? Yes. Yeah. Because if you aren't doing well and someone is trying to tell you, "Oh, you're doing fine, but you have to do this and this and this," or someone is just directly telling you, let's say you're trying to learn how to play, let's say, piano, yeah, you are shit. Yes, it may be uncomfortable, but actually this kind of feedback is the most, is the most effective way of learning. It is the most uncomfortable, but at the same time, it is the most effective and efficient because you learn just so fast. You can't even imagine. Yeah. Someone being honest, but at the same time professional is telling you the truth without sugarcoating anything. Because it's always better to know about the uncomfortable truth than just to leave with this, nice lie, yeah, that people just trying to hide, yeah. Like, because people just trying to hide the truth, so because it is uncomfortable. And some people, again, are getting defensive because of their egos. And ego is a huge topic as well, yeah? But you get the point, right? And now, we have basically, if you think about it, yeah? Again, Machiavelli wasn't evil, he was honest. And now, Machiavelli knew that, again, people work with people they respect, not with people they like. Again, think about it. Would you work with the person that you like, or would you work with a competent person that you respect? And you respect him because of his competence, not because you like him, because of his competence. Yeah, because in business you are looking for competence. You don't care, like, it doesn't really matter if you love them, you like them, they're so cool. Yes, there's a truth in that, but if we have two business owners and you're trying to find a partner, let's say, or you're trying to work with someone, or you're selling your high-ticket service or offer, and you're basically, the prospect is looking for a company that could help them with XYZ problem, who would they work with? Ask yourself this question. With a competent one, or with the company that, with the person that they like, or the person that they respect? It's not about being hated. Yeah, it's not about being hated. It's about being respected and not trying to be fake for the sake of closing. Because on a sales call, you just tell them, if I can help you, we'll see what we can do. If not, then I wish you all the best. Yeah, we'll go separate ways. That's it. You are telling them the truth. If you can't help them, you just, okay, we'll go separate ways. That's it. And the neuroscience, after 500 years, yeah, the neuroscience Machiavelli understood before it had a name. Part 2. Yeah. Now, we have, very simply speaking, we have 3 brains. We have 3 brains, and the human brain is very complex, yeah? It's very complex, but simply explained, and we have neocortex, we have limbic system, and we have reptilian brain, yeah? So, again, it's very complex, yeah? But for this video, yeah, to simply connect it with sales, I'm gonna show you the 3 brains, yeah? The reptilian brain is responsible for our, literally this is the oldest part of our brain, yeah? Our ancestors had it, and it is responsible for our intuitive actions, you know, like for example, fight or flight response or freeze. We're not thinking about it, it's just in our nature. Or how we breathe. We're not thinking how we breathe, yeah? So, the limbic brain, or the limbic system, it's called, this is literally the emotional part of our brain, yeah? All emotions are pretty much, these 3 brains, they're connected to each other. But the emotional brain is literally the most important part in this case. Because most of the decisions, people make decisions based on their emotions. And the limbic system is responsible for that. And the neocortex is the rational brain, the logical brain, yeah? But before, most of the time, 90% of people, because they're not aware of their emotions, or they're not aware of their, or they're not trying to improve their emotional intelligence, which is EQ, yeah? EQ, it's actually more important than IQ, yeah? But they're just living on the autopilot, most of the people. They're not being aware, they're not being present, they just react, yeah? But we don't want to react, we want to proact. This is just a good, you know, this is just good overall for your life, yeah? I would really recommend that, to improve your emotional intelligence, to work on your emotional intelligence, yeah? And it actually never ends. It's just the training that you do throughout your whole life, yeah? And you're just getting better, a little bit better, and better. But it is possible to control your emotions and to control your reactions. It is possible. And when you are rational, you make better decisions, obviously. And still, you're gonna be affected by your emotions, whether you want it or not, yeah? Because we are emotional creatures. You can't just, you know, get rid of your emotions, yeah, because we're not robots. But we have 3 brains, yeah? So how the neuroscience actually proved Machiavelli, that Machiavelli was right, actually. Now, Machiavelli said men in general judge more by their eyes than by their hands. Think about it, yeah? Now, if we think about this quote, this is literally how the first impression works. And Joseph Ledoux, he discovered that because Ledoux showed that the sensory signals reach the amygdala. Amygdala is one of the most important terms that you must know if you're selling something, yeah? Because the amygdala is literally this part in our limbic system. And the point of the Ledoux's he showed that the sensory signals reach the amygdala immediately. So when we see something or we hear something, the amygdala immediately is activated, yeah, and only after that, basically, the brain's threat detection center is activated through our sensory signals, yeah, whatever it could be, eyes, what we hear, maybe with something we touch something, yeah, and only after it reaches the rational brain. So first it goes to the amygdala. Think about it. Most of the time, even very, very small part of the information is being processed in the neocortex if we're so emotional about the event or when something happened. Yeah? Because the only thing that we see something and we're being emotional about that. Yeah? It could be literally anything. And there's no danger. There's no actual danger. But we just create this danger for ourselves. And the brain doesn't know the difference between what we visualize or what we are trying to overthink and actual danger. Yeah, for the brain it's the same reaction as you would be running away from the tiger. Yeah, or from your, yeah. So the amygdala fires first, yeah. So it fires first, and it makes judgment, immediate first impression. I think it's 0.1 milliseconds, and the person makes a judgment about you. And people say, don't judge a book by its cover. Yeah, doesn't work this way. Doesn't work. People judge. They will always judge. Whether we want it or not, whether it is good or bad, we will judge. Yeah, that's why the first impression is so important. And on a sales call, it's crucial because this is where the framing starts. Yeah, but the framing is, we'll go over that. Yeah. Now, yeah. And it makes a judgment basically safe or threat, yeah, whether we should trust or it's dangerous to work with us with the with whoever they want to work with, yeah. And the sales call hasn't even started yet. Can you imagine? Can you think about it? And the amygdala is already firing and saying whether it is dangerous, whether it's a threat or safe, or we should trust. Because this is how our ancestors survived. Think about it. If we see something, we have immediate reaction whether we should run from it or whether we could trust it. Yeah? This is how we survived. Think about it. We didn't have the neocortex, the smart brain. And we were able to survive somehow. Because the brain was just was controlling our actions pretty much. Survival mechanism. Yeah? And it's still in us. It still works. It's still active. It's still active. Yeah? That's the part of it, yeah? This is why your presence matters. This is why your tonality matters. This is why how you dress matters. Yeah? This is how, like everything, this is how your body language matters. All the small caveats that people neglect, this is actually the most important part. And there's actually, by the way, like, we have, so I think it's around 76%, then we have around 20%, and then we have around like 4 or 5%, yeah? It's basically how we process the information, yeah? The numbers could be wrong, but it's the approximate numbers, yeah? And can you imagine 4% is just the words. 96% is body language and 20% is tonality. This is non-verbal communication, yeah? And it's already 96% or around 90% of our communication is non-verbal, and only 4% is words, yeah? Only 4%. What people focus on? They focus on words, talking non-stop. That's the crazy part of it, yeah? Part 3. Now let's start with the principles, yeah? Dark. Principle number 1. Dark. Respect over likability. Yeah? Respect over likability. Now Machiavelli said it's better to be feared than loved if you cannot be both. Now again, if you read this for the first time, it may sound as, again, deceptive, manipulative, yeah? But this principle actually changed my sales career, yeah? And Machiavelli, I want to explain what that means exactly, yeah? It means that, like, basically fear in Machiavellian's context doesn't mean terror, being hated, being evil, yeah? It means respect, yeah? And the modern society is trying to push that respect is something evil, power is something evil, yeah? That's why the Robert Greene's best-selling book is, is coined to be evil, yeah, by some people, yeah. But it means respect, the kind of respect that comes from authority, yeah, and from certainty, from authority, from quiet confidence. From quiet confidence that, just means, it doesn't mean like the comfort, the quiet confidence of someone who knows their value and knows the value of their service, the value of their product, whatever you're selling. That's the thing. You know the value, you know that it works, you know that you can help the person. How are you going to sell if you don't even believe that you can actually help them? And if you can't help them, just tell them. Just tell them, sorry, we can't do anything with that. Or you see that they're not in the position to help themselves, let's say, yeah? Because it also depends on the person, yeah? It depends on the business owner. If you see that the business owner is not trying to do anything, he's not trying to improve, yeah, then it's gonna be a headache. Just tell them, okay, as it is. Tell them, okay, we can't work, we can't help you. Yeah, I wish you all the best. I wish you will find someone, yeah, that could help you, but we can't. That's it. End the call. It's not worth it. Yeah, it's not worth it. So that's the thing. And love in Machiavelli's context is not about affection, or basically doesn't mean affection, yeah? It means comfort. It means comfort. Trying to create this comfortable environment just for the sake of creating this comfortable environment, not for the sake of actually trying to understand or trying to help, because comfort is not equal truth most of the time. Yeah, it's actually the opposite. Truth is uncomfort most of the time, and we don't want to hear that truth. Yeah, because it is evil. And this comfort, this kind of comfort comes from the agreeableness, from desperate need to be liked. That's why smiling all the time when you don't even want to smile, but you're just smiling because it is a norm, a social norm. Think about it. Do you really trust people who smile, but you see that their smile is not genuine? Do you really trust them? Yeah? Although we may think being smiling is equal trustworthy, is equal positive, is equal likable. That's the paradox, yeah? And the psychological truth, comfortable people don't take action. Yeah, when it's too comfortable, if you had a couple of sales calls, yeah, you know what I'm talking about, yeah? You see that, okay, you built rapport with your prospect. You see that, you feel that, okay, it's going great. You are friends. But then the prospect is just using that comfort and just telling you, I need to think about it. We're friends. We built rapport. You will let me think about it. Yeah, and I'll just leave this call because we are friends. Yeah. If you had this, I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. Yeah. I've had this many, many, many times. Yeah. And yeah, I'm telling you. Let me think about it. Send me some more information. I'll just look at it. Yeah. That's what happens. Maybe next month, maybe next week, maybe in 2 months. But I really like your service. I really like your product. It's really good. I like your testimonials. But just let me think about it. Send me some more information. Just send me your presentation. Yeah, I will have a look. Yeah? But we are friends. Yeah? It's just how it is. I had hundreds of sales calls on Zoom, and I know that these kind of sales calls, exactly these kind of sales calls, I had hundreds of them, yeah, and they never come back. They never come back. And then I discovered, and then I read more literature, Machiavelli, Socrates, yeah, psychology. Because it's not about reading these sales books where they just show you these scripted lines. Okay, say that. When they say this, you should say that. Let's say you go on a date and some dating, expert is telling you, say this, say that, sit like this, yeah. Have this eye contact and ask her this and this and this and these questions. What do you think is gonna happen? Yeah? Every single date will be different. Sales calls are not different. Every single sales call will be different. Can you imagine you're asking the same questions, you're being the same all the time? It's not about, oh, I want to be myself. I don't want to change. No, you are just be yourself. But being authentic is not about just staying at the same level and not changing. It's about holding the principles, holding your authentic principles, but actually adapting depending on the person, depending on the archetype you're speaking to. That's the mastery. Adaptation. People are different. People have different emotional states. Yeah. One day they could be happy, one day it could be angry. You have to deal with that. Adapt. Charles Darwin said, not the species, not the strongest species, not the smartest species that survive, but those who can adapt. You can think about it everywhere in your life. You can just utilize it. It's very, very, very important rule, actually. Yeah? Adapting, being formless. That's why it is Socratic sales. We do not need any scripts. We're just actively listening and we're adapting. But yeah, so, and this is, as I mentioned, yeah, this is what this looked like for me personally. Yeah, I was trying to be liked by everyone. This is my early career. On every call, I smiled constantly, agreed with everything. Yeah, not because and I was losing deals. I was just losing deals, not because we weren't friends with with my prospects, or they didn't like me. They liked me. They liked my offer, but just I was projecting wrong energy. I was projecting like, please like me, please buy my service. My service is the best. Yeah, that's the whole thing. And I understood that people buy from people from the companies they respect, and the business owners are representing the companies. Yeah. And then I read Machiavelli, and I read Aristotle's works. I read Plato's works. Socrates didn't write any books, yeah, but there's still enough information. And this way, by understanding ancient philosophy, psychology, yeah, that's how the Socratic sales were created, yeah. Again, it's been all the time. It's been the libraries, and we never. No one is talking about that. Everyone's talking about magical scripts that will solve all the problems and will bring you, 100% close rate. First principles. And you can use these first principles everywhere in your life. Whatever you do. Not just in sales. Everywhere. That's how it is. That's why it is so powerful. And then I stopped smiling not because I became cold and I'm human. I'm smiling when it's funny, I'm laughing when it's funny. That's all right. There's nothing bad about it. It's not about that. I just stopped performing warmth that I didn't feel. I stopped just performing. That's the thing. I just felt what it is. If I let's say if the prospect said X, and then let's say during the negotiations part, now they heard the pricing, and now they're just changing their minds and they're just changing whatever they said at the beginning. I'm gonna bring it up as it is. Yeah. And then after that, something shifted. Prospects started taking me seriously. That's when my closing rate just skyrocketed. Just literally. Just because of that, not because I found some fancy Instagram objection handling phrase or somewhere read in the book that I should say this when they say that. No, just because I understood the principles, that the ancient principles from 16th century, from, like from the 305 BC, yeah. It's just it's just crazy. It's crazy, yeah. And I just stopped that. I just stopped projecting this energy. Please like me. Please work with me. Please buy from me. And how neuroscience actually explains that is it's just literally, for example, as a very good example is the halo effect. Yeah. Research shows that when we perceive someone as authoritative, we literally just we think that everything this person does is very good, is competent, everywhere. This is just our human nature, yeah. And there are hundreds of human biases, yeah. We will go over that maybe in the next videos, but it's actually very important to know because this is how we operate. We're just biased creatures. We're biased creatures. And why we're biased creatures? Because we are not being aware of our biases. We don't even know. We think that it is just, we're not thinking from the third perspective that could give us more, that could show us that, okay, it is actually not us, it is actually our programmed system, or the way how we operate, or the way how we were programmed. Because we're being programmed every single day. Yeah, the environment around us is just programming us. Yeah, that's why people say that your environment is so important. Who are you spending your time with? You're just being programmed every day. Whatever you do, your habits are programming you. We are slaves to our habits. And one strong positive signals basically colors everything else, yeah? So if you are competent from the beginning, you're not trying to be fake, you're not trying to smile all the time when it's not needed. You're being honest, and the prospect will feel, okay, this guy is honest. This guy is maybe a little bit asshole, but he's competent. I feel that he could help me. Yeah, and we're not trying to be assholes. It's not about that, but just, yeah. Now, dark principle 2, the psychology of silence. Ooh, this is so important. Robert Greene, who studied Machiavelli, this is his law of force. So always say less than necessary. Because when most of the salespeople, they just talking non-stop. And the difference between great salespeople and the average is just who talks less, who says less. Because one could talk and trying to be liked, trying to be friends. Because if you're talking with them, the more you talk with them, the better friends you become. So the guy number one, or the sales guy, or the company number one, talking for 20 minutes, another one is listening for 20 minutes. Yeah. Is listening for 20 minutes. Huge difference. Because the more you speak, the more you could reveal. Yeah? And say something stupid or unrelated, which will just destroy your sales call. Plus, when you listen, you let your prospect talk, because people don't like the silence. It is uncomfortable. So they're always trying to fill in this silence. Yeah? Just try, just in your personal life. Not even just on a sales call. Don't say anything. Go, don't say anything and just listen. Ask questions. And they're gonna be talking, talking, talking. Don't rush to say something. Don't interrupt and don't rush to say anything. When they stopped, just try. 4 or 5 seconds, don't say anything. They'll always fill in something. They'll always add something. Yeah? Or you could just mirror them. You could just, let's say, for example, you could just mirror the last word of their sentence and they'll just continue talking. And people love to talk. Many people, they just love talking. Yeah? And sometimes there was actually a study when someone was talking to someone and it was like they met for the first time, and the guy was just asking, mirroring all the time, asking more about the person, and the person was talking about himself, about his story, and the first guy didn't say much about himself, like a little bit, but most of the focus was on the second guy. And the second guy, what do you think would the second guy think? Oh, this is a great guy. I like him. He's so great. You know this feeling when you meet someone and then you just nice energy. Yeah, because he let you talk about himself, about yourself. And when we're talking about ourselves, about our stories, about something that we love, or about our achievements, we're getting dopamine. Yeah, and we're being, we think that we are important because people are asking questions about us. Yeah, if we're explaining that psychologically, very simply. So that's the point. And on the sales call, yeah, the human brain. So when you stay silent, you create this vacuum. Yeah, and the human brain, specifically this part of the brain, anterior cingulate cortex. I know. Yeah, it's not my term, but why it is important to know is because the human brain, specifically this part, treats unresolved uncertainty as a threat. Exactly what I just explained. When it is silence, people can't just be in this, they just can't deal with silence, especially people who always talk with people every time, who are very, very extroverted, especially. Because it's just, people call it awkward silence. But it's not awkward silence if you're doing that strategically. You're doing that with awareness. That's not awkward, that's strategic silence. That's the difference. When you're aware of your silence. This is the cheat code that you can use everywhere. Again, I will repeat that again. Everywhere in your life, whenever you have conversation with someone, just try. When people say something and they stop talking, give them 5 seconds, 4, 5 seconds, 6 seconds. Just don't say anything. Just look at them, for example, yeah? And most of the time, they will add more. They'll add more. If not, just ask a question, that's fine. But don't rush to say anything. Because you want to listen to understand. You don't want to listen to respond. And what people do, they respond immediately. They have this, they want to say something, and whenever someone ends, even sometimes they interrupt, which is a terrible thing to do. Sometimes, of course, you could interrupt, but it's very rare cases. Yeah, Just remember, don't interrupt. Yeah. So, and whenever you're negotiating anything, yeah, let's say as an example, two people at the table, and we have person A, and we have person B, yeah, and the person A makes an offer and it immediately starts explaining it. Oh, this is 5K because of that, because of this feature, because we are, you know, because of XYZ. The person number B, or the person B, number B, what does that communicate? The basically the person B says, instead of trying to be of trying to justify his pretty much existence, trying to justify his pricing, he's just the person B is just shuts up. He shut up and let the silence do the work. He said the pricing, it's 5K, we do this and this and this. Silence. You don't need to justify. Psychologically, what does it mean? What does that communicate? Is, look, I know that it works. I know it works, and I don't need to justify that. If you wanna go with us, let's go. Pretty much. Obviously, we're gonna negotiate. Obviously, we're gonna handle objections. Yeah, I'm not saying that we're so ignorant and arrogant that okay, they're gonna, like we don't care about anything. Pretty much. Of course, we do care, but we do not care about the outcome. Yeah, we focus on the on the process, and we know that we could help them. But it's the like psychological part that we communicate with them non-verbally. Yeah, because silence is the part of the non-verbal language, and many people underestimate this. Sometimes silence could say more than the words, and maybe you've heard this saying. And again, person B doesn't says nothing, sits back, calm eye contact. Okay, this is the offer, it's worth it, I know it. Yeah, same offer, but now completely different messages. Yeah, absolutely different. And early, yeah, a few years ago when I was starting out, I was just over explaining everything because I was desperate for the close. I was nervous, stressed. What would they think? Oh, it is 3K. Yeah, it's so expensive. They will never pay that. Yeah. So what I was signaling to the prospect is just, okay, I'm not sure that it is worth it. So that the price is worth it either. Let me convince you. That's the problem. We're not trying to convince anyone. Yeah. And then I just shut up, and then everything changed. I just shut up. Yeah. And it literally probably increased my closing rate by 15%, 20%, just by shutting up. Yeah. So, and another guy who understood this, King Louis the 14th, the King of France. Now, I mean, you see, we can learn from these great people, from the history. It's been here all the time, and but we're still trying in this modern sales industry. We're trying to find out some crazy, fancy sales tactics from Instagram Reels, from from all the social media, just repeating stuff from the sales scripts, from this, yeah, just King Louis the 14th. Look what he did. Yeah, his advisors would debate. He would what he was doing. He would just completely sit still without saying any word. And they were terrified because of this silence, because they didn't know they didn't know what he's thinking about. He just said, I shall see. I shall see. And those three words delivered again in silence. And then the entire court of powerful men were in this uncertainty state. And uncertainty creates difference. In a royal court or in a sales call, say less than necessary. Let the silence work. That's dark, pretty much dark principle too, you could name it, yeah? Now, dark principle 3, never react, always respond. If we think about it, we have, again, low emotion, high emotion. Low emotion, calm, relaxed. We do not react. When we're high, when we're emotional, very emotional, we're just not thinking rationally, as I mentioned before, because the limbic system, the amygdala, literally hijacks the rational part of our brain. Again, the amygdala fires before the neocortex. And when they say, on a sales call, let's say the prospect says, oh, your price is too high, or I've seen better results with your competitors. And the business owners or the salesperson's amygdala fires and just, threat detected, and they react, they get defensive, and they start over justifying their pricing and over justifying your service, your pricing, whatever you're selling. Yeah, that's what we automatically do. We're trying to justify. Someone asks something, when someone is asking us an uncomfortable question, what we're gonna do? We're justifying that they're not right, they're not correct, they're wrong. If you do not justify, then it signals, okay, you may think this way, but it's not true, and I don't even need to justify that. So again, it's not about that we're not gonna handle these objections. It's just you don't need to justify. Instead, you just, for example, asking them the question back. Yeah. I've seen, or your price is too high. Oh, interesting. What do you mean by high, or high compared to what? You're asking them a question back. Why we're asking this question, or any question back, like, do not use that line for your objection handling, because we don't need any lines. It's just, it all depends on the context, yeah? Because we're not using any scripts again. You're trying to get more information, you're trying to get their perspective. What do they mean? Oh, the price is too high because I've had a sales call with someone else and the price was 2K and you're charging 3K. All right, interesting. And why haven't you started with them? Yeah. Okay. It was 2K. It was less expensive, but why haven't they started? You're getting more information again. Socratic method, Socratic sales. Yeah, it's just an example. So the amygdala hijack happens, and the Machiavelli said, the ruler who can be provoked can be controlled. The ruler who cannot be moved cannot be defeated. That's why EQ is so crucial. We, as business owners who sell high ticket, yeah, we must develop our EQ, because especially at the beginning, we are always being rejected. That's why EQ is so powerful. Yeah. We have to be aware of our emotions. We have to be aware of our prospects' emotions as well. But first, we start with our own emotions. And then this is a topic for another video. EQ is very important. But that's the point, yeah? Machiavelli knew that, again. And I call it zero control. You know that you don't control the outcome, but you understand what's within your control. And within your control is the way how you conduct the sales call, the quality of your questions, yeah, the understanding, your understanding of the prospects or of their business situation. Yeah, that's what you can control. But you can't control whether they like you. You can't control whether even other people like you. Can you imagine how it is if you know that you can't be 100%, you can't 100% control whether someone likes you or not, even if you're trying actively to be liked? Sometimes, most of the time, it just backfires. Yeah, they just avoid you. Now, dark principle 4: information is the real currency. The person who knows more controls more. It's that simple. Yeah. So how I was using this principle is, I was presenting my service. Yeah. I mean, we have simple. Again, there are no crazy frameworks or anything. Simplicity is genius. Albert Einstein. Yeah. I always follow this principle. Now, we have sales call or sales meeting, doesn't matter. Yeah, in person or on online. We have discovery, presentation, negotiations. That's it. That's your framework. And during the presentation, how I use this principle is, I was presenting, having a conversation during the presentation, not just talking. We had a dialogue during the presentation. I asked the questions. I asked open-ended questions. And I came to the point where they asked me, okay, and how much does it cost? So I didn't tell them, oh, and this costs this and this and this and this. I literally shared with them the pricing when they asked for it. If they didn't ask for it, or I see that, for example, they are not able to make a decision today, I just rescheduled the call for our follow-up. I just scheduled the follow-up call, and I didn't show them any pricing, because this is the only leverage that we have. What's the point of showing the pricing and then just knowing that they're not gonna make a decision? Or they're not even asking about the pricing? It means that you're not interested. Just simple. Whenever you are buying something, let's say in a boutique, you're buying some shoes. What you're gonna do? If you're interested, you're gonna ask for the pricing. If you're interested in a watch, you're gonna ask for a pricing. Yeah. That's why many businesses, they hide their pricing. Or they say like, request a pricing, something along these lines, especially with luxury watches. Yeah. So that's the point. Now, our dark principle 5: perception is reality. Manage it deliberately. Now, Machiavelli said, everyone sees what you appear to be. Few experience what you really are. Now, again, it's not about being someone that you are not. Yeah? It's not about that. It's about the framing. It's about the first impression. Yeah? Now, thinking about the first impression, is it deceptive? Because this is how you appear. No one really cares who you are, because on a sales call, people want a solution from you. They want to get rid of the problems. They don't care who you are. Yeah? And probably they're not going to see you again For example, I've been cold calling hundreds of times every day, and these sales calls were pretty much cold sales calls. Yeah. So I called, I got an appointment, I booked an appointment, and then we had a Zoom meeting with them. Yeah. And like we had like 3 minutes conversation on a phone on a cold call, and then we had half an hour, 40 minutes conversation on a Zoom call. Do you think they care who I am? No, they care about the company and whether we can provide the value and whether we're legit. That's it. Yeah. So certainty, genuine curiosity, detachment from the outcome. This is what you need. Yeah. This is the strategic business owner. Yeah. Because we as business owners, we are selling our service, we're selling our products, and we have to be certain about it. We have to be genuinely curious about them, about our prospects. And we have to detach from the outcome, just to chill. Yeah, because it's not within our control. Everything can happen. Think about what's within our control. And even Marcus Aurelius said that. Yeah. And Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic philosopher, he said, like, focus on what's within your control. Yeah, pretty much. And again, the halo effect in this case. The first perception signals basically gives them all the information that they need about us. So however we present ourselves, however we frame the call or the conversation, they will think about us this way. If we fucked up the first impression, yeah, now they'll think that if we are fucked up, then probably it's not the best idea to work with these companies. Yeah. So that's just whether you want it, whether you like it or not. This is just this is just our human nature. Yeah. And again, they don't care about your pitch. They care about your presence. And you are trying to help them, or you're trying to, I mean, when you're selling, you are not doing that with your pitch, you're doing that with your presence. Because pitch, okay, you can repeat some lines, you can show them presentation, the slides, okay. No one cares. They care about the presence, what they feel. You know this feeling when you met someone or you see someone and you just don't like them. Why? Yeah, that's another topic. It's about the personal magnetism and the aura. That's absolutely a different topic, but it literally the magnetic field that we have, whether it is remotely or in person. It is. We have this magnetic field. It is actually true. And it actually works remotely as well. But that's another topic. And then he said it's not necessary for a prince to have all the good qualities, but it's absolutely necessary to appear to have them. Again, it's not about being deceptive, and it's not about being who you are, being the fake person. Yeah. Do not fake it. Embody it. Become this competent business owner. That's it. Grow. Improve your skills. Develop your habits. Become this person. You don't need to fake anything. There's difference, because faking certainty is performance. And we're not trying to perform anything. Yeah? We're not performing anything. Embodying certainty is identity. And faking certainty is performance. And identity is felt. It is just felt. Who you are. Again, who you are with your core principles. And the last one, but not the least, never need the yes. This is probably the most important. We are not desperate. We have options and we're not radiating this desperate aura because it is felt. And for me, first, it felt counterintuitive that, okay, I have to stop caring about the clothes, about making money. Sounds like a little bit weird. But what I actually did, it is crazy. When I learned that, I joined many sales calls, and I closed the deals, they said yes, and I didn't take the cash. I just refused to take the cash. And it actually worked. Why? Because I knew that even when I close, I'm not gonna take any money from them. I'm not gonna accept any money. I'm not gonna send any invoice. I'm gonna just refuse to accept them. Yeah. And with that mindset, it's really changed everything. That's a few years ago when I was training myself to become better at high ticket sales, at sales, understanding how humans make decisions, and understanding myself in the first place. I literally did this. I closed so many deals. It's just crazy, but I didn't take the money. Of course, after that, I've been closing and taking money, but just this practice is just crazy. I provided the value, gave some tips, but didn't take the money. But although I could, because they said yes. When they said yes, that was for me, okay, cool, I did it. I don't care about anything else. And I didn't even care about the yes, pretty much, because, okay, if they say yes, nothing changes. I mean, I will improve, okay. If they say no, also nothing, yeah? I'm not losing anything. So the moment you need the yes, you've already lost. And paradoxically, the detached business owner closes more, not because they're better at convincing, because they're not trying to convince anyone. In Marcus Aurelius wrote, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength. Realize that getting this cash, getting this invoice, pay the invoice, is not within your control. Focus on what's within your control, your skills, your awareness, and the whole sales process. Yeah. In sales terms, you have power over the quality of your conversations. And to summarize everything that you can implement right now. First principle, stop performing warmth you don't feel. Be genuine. Smile when you mean it. Don't smile when you don't need. 2, say the price and shut up. Whatever your price is, say it clearly, calmly, with certainty, and they say nothing. 3, identify your triggers before the call. Improve your EQ. Yeah, work on yourself. Be aware of your emotions, of your thoughts. Look at yourself from the third party perspective. That actually helps a lot. Yeah. 4, ask before you answer. When a prospect asks you a question or they're trying to give you some objections, ask a question. Yeah, when someone is asking me, I'm asking question back to understand what do they mean exactly. Yeah. Or actually just saying, what do you mean? What do you mean by XYZ? Or can you elaborate on XYZ it's a question back, and you're getting more information which will help you to handle XYZ objection. Audit your perception signals. Before your next call, ask yourself 3 questions. You could ask yourself, that would be even better. For example, when you record your sales calls, yeah, I assume that you're recording your sales calls because it's very important. You project uncertainty and ask yourself, would you buy from this person? So would you buy from yourself if you would be in your prospect's shoes? Would you buy from yourself? Yeah. Also, journaling and EQ training helped me a lot. Yeah. And practice zero control. Before every call, remind yourself the outcome of this conversation is outside of my control. And all I control is the quality of my conversation with this prospect. And then let go of the outcome completely and watch what happens. This is Socratic sales. Be formless. Implement these 6 principles. And thanks for watching. See you in the next one.